पुणी आज चर्चार शीर्ष स्थान पलटि एससी एसटी जाति वर्गीकरण राय उपर आसिला बड़ खुलासा। जाति वर्गीकरण आवश्यकता काहाकू और काहींकी मानवर उच्चतम न्यायालय राय पर आगको कौन घटिबो प्रावधान कौन रहिबा कथा एने अनेक क्रिया प्रतिक्रिया आसुछि। नमस्कार, जीटीवी भारत ओडिया यूट्यूब न्यूज चैनल को आपन को स्वागत करुछि। मो रामदास खबर टी को शेष जाए देखंतु। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करनथिले सब्सक्राइब करंतु। वीडियो टी को गोटे लाइक दे अन्य को शेयर करंतु। आवश्यक स्थले कमेंट करी सचेतन करंतु। अनुसूचित जाति व जनजातिर वर्गीकरण पाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट एक गुरुत्वपूर्ण राय देइछंती। एससी एवं एसटी रो जाति वर्गीकरण हेबो कोटारु क्रीमी लेयर बाद पड़िबे बोली सुप्रीम कोर्ट रे एक 7 जणिया संविधान बेंच गुरुवार अगस्त 1 तारिख दिन एक गुरुत्वपूर्ण राय रे कहिछंती। अनुसूचित जाति व अनुसूचित जनजाति मध्य उपवर्गीकरण करिवार आवश्यकता रहिछि, जहा द्वारा वंचित संप्रदायर लोकंकु आरक्षण सुविधा दिया जाई पारिबो। चाकरी एवं शिक्षा क्षेत्र रे कोटा दिया जाई पारे। देशर उच्चतम न्यायालय मान्यवर प्रधान विचारपति श्रीयुक्त डी.वाई. चंद्रचूड़, मान्यवर विचारपति जस्टिस बी.आर. गाभाई, विक्रम नाथ, बेला एम त्रिवेदी, पंकज मिताल, मनोज मिश्र एवं सतीश चंद्र मिश्र को नहीं एक बेंच 6-1 रे पास करिसंती। पंजाब एवं हरियाणा हाईकोर्ट 2010 निष्पत्ति को चैलेंज करी पंजाब सरकार दाखल करिथिबा मुख्य आवेदन समेत 23 टी पिटिशन शुणाणी होइतिला। शुणंतु मान्यवर उच्चतम न्यायालय प्रधान विचारपति सीजेआई चंद्रचूड़ राय।
I have authored an opinion for Justice Manoj Mishra and myself. Justice Bhushan R. Gavai and Justice Pankaj Mittal have authored separate concurring opinions. Justice Gavai and I have agreed with each other's conclusions. Justice Vikram Nath and Justice Satish Chandra Sharma all have agreed with the opinions of Justice Gavai and myself. Justice Bela Trivedi has dissented. The majority of us have overruled the judgment in E.V. Chinnaiya. We have held that subclassification of the scheduled caste for the purposes of reservation is permissible. I'll just read out a brief extract. In State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, a constitution bench held that the judgment in Chinnaiya requires to be revisited by a larger bench of 7 judges because it failed to consider significant aspects bearing on the issue of subclassification of the scheduled castes. Deciding the correctness of Chinnaiya, the following issues fall for our consideration. A. Whether subclassification of a reserved class is permissible under Articles 14, 15 and 16. B. Whether the scheduled castes constitute a homogeneous or a heterogeneous grouping. C. Whether Article 341 creates a homogeneous class for the operation of the deeming fiction. And D. Whether there are any limits on the scope of subclassification. The Constitution's 77th Amendment Act 1995 included Article 16(4)(a), enabling the state to provide reservations for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in promotions. The Constitution 82nd Amendment Act 2000 added the proviso to Article 335 stipulating that lowering the standards of evaluation will not be inconsistent with the maintenance of efficiency. The amendments recognize the difficulties and struggles faced by members of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes during promotion. In a formal sense, the criteria of selection for promotions a priori excludes the members of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes because the criteria which are considered to be appropriate are not accessible to them. In a more informal but substantive manner, the members of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes are often unable to climb up the ladder because of the stigma of incompetence held against candidates who are selected through reservation. The stereotype operates against them because they are externalized as affirmative action beneficiaries or quota candidates. The amendments recognize the discrimination through the operation of both human conduct and recruitment processes. They are an emphatic repudiation of the binary of reservation and merit. Article 14 of the Constitution permits subclassification of a class which is not similarly situated for the purpose of the law. The court, while testing the validity of subclassification, must determine if the class is homogeneous and an integrated class for fulfilling the object of the subclassification. A class which is not integrated for the purpose can be further classified upon the fulfillment of the two-pronged intelligible differential standard. In Indra Sawhney, this court did not limit the application of subclassification only to the other backward class. This court upheld the application of the principle to beneficiary classes under Articles 15.4 and 16.4. Article 341.1 does not create a deeming fiction. The phrase deemed is used in the provision to mean that the castes or groups notified by the President shall be regarded as a scheduled caste. The inclusion of the word deemed in Articles 341.2 and 342.2 does not create a legal fiction, since it does not provide any artificial construction. To that extent, the observations of the three-judge bench of this court in Puneet Rai versus Dinesh Chaudhary that Article 341.2 creates a deeming fiction are erroneous. Even if it is accepted that the deeming fiction is used for the creation of a constitutional identity, the fiction can neither be extended to other purposes nor can it create legal consequences that do not logically flow from the fiction. The purpose of the deeming fiction, even if one is assumed, is identification of castes which are the scheduled castes. The inclusion of certain castes within the scheduled caste category is only to demarcate them from other castes which are not included in the category. The inclusion does not automatically lead to the formation of a uniform and internally homogeneous class which cannot be further classified. Subclassification within the scheduled castes does not violate Article 341.2 because the castes are not per se included in or excluded from the list. Subclassification would violate the provision only when either preference or exclusive benefit is provided to certain castes or groups of the scheduled castes over all the seats reserved for the class. Historical and empirical evidence indicates that the scheduled castes are not a homogeneous class. A. The depressed classes were identified based on the notion of untouchability and not in the literal sense of the term. The effect of adopting the notional and not the literal test is that the social condition of all the castes included within the depressed classes is not uniform. And B. The heterogeneity within the class is also evident from the Constitution Scheduled Castes Order 1950, where certain castes are notified as a scheduled caste in specific localities. For example, in the state of Madhya Pradesh, of the 25 castes, only 9 are scheduled castes throughout the state. The criteria used to identify the scheduled caste itself indicates that the endeavor was not to include all castes that suffered from identical forms of untouchability. The state, in exercise of the power under Articles 15.4 and 16.4, can further classify the scheduled castes. The first prong of the test for subclassification is whether the scheduled castes form a homogeneous group, integrated class, for all purposes. We have held above that even if Article 341 creates a deeming fiction, the provision does not create an integrated class that cannot be further subclassified. The provision only puts certain castes or groups or parts of them into a group called the scheduled castes. The castes or groups within the scheduled castes form an integrated class for the limited purpose of constitutional identification. They do not form an integrated class for any other purpose. We have also established through historical and empirical evidence that the scheduled castes notified by the President under Article 341 are a heterogeneous class where groups within the class suffer from varying degrees of social backwardness. But the first test is satisfied. The state, in exercise of its power under Articles 15 and 16, is free to identify the different degrees of social backwardness and provide special provisions such as reservation to achieve the specific degree of harm identified. If the scheduled castes are not similarly situated for the purpose of the law or the specific harm identified, there is nothing in Articles 15, 16 and 341 which prevents the state from applying the principle of subclassification of the class. Thus, the scheduled castes can be further classified if A. There is a rational principle for differentiation, and B. If the rational principle is a nexus with the purpose of subclassification. The scope of subclassification of the scheduled castes is summarized below. A. Since the purpose of Articles 15.4 and 16.4 is to ensure equality of opportunity of the socially backward classes, the criterion for subclassification within a class, be it the other backward classes or the scheduled castes or tribes, must be an indicator of social backwardness, and B. Since the state can use any yardstick to determine inter se backwardness, it is not necessary that the criteria for subclassification and the criteria used to distinguish the class from the other classes must be the same. That is, if the criteria for recognizing the scheduled caste as a backward class is untouchability, it is not necessary that the group can be subclassified only if there is inter se backwardness due to the same identity, that is untouchability. The course of action adopted by the state is subject to judicial review when faced with a constitutional challenge. Where the action is challenged, the state will have to justify the basis of its action, the basis of the subclassification, and the model which has been followed will have to be justified on the basis of empirical data gathered by the state. In other words, while the state may embark on an exercise of subclassification, it must do so on the basis of quantifiable and demonstrable data bearing on the levels of backwardness and representation in the services of the state, it cannot, in other words, merely act on its whims or as a matter of political expediency. The decision of the state is amenable to judicial review. A, the objective of any form of affirmative action, including subclassification, is to provide substantive equality of opportunity for the backward classes. The state can subclassify inter alia based on inadequate representation of certain castes. B, the state must collect data on the inadequacy of representation in the services of the state. The inference in Nagaraj that cadre must be taken as a unit to determine inadequacy of representation, inadequacy of reservation, based on the observations in R.K. Sabarwal, in our respectful opinion, is misplaced. The cadre as a unit was considered only for the purpose of preparation of rosters to draw a balance between the reserved and open seats. This court did not hold that the cadre must be used as a unit for the purpose of determining the adequacy of representation. And C, conventionally, the state has assessed if the class is adequately represented by comparing the representation of the class in the services to the total population of the state. However, adequacy of representation, when determined purely from a numerical perspective, without accounting for factors such as representation vis-a-vis posts, would dilute the purpose of the provision. The objective of Article 16.4 is to ensure effective representation of the class in the services of the state across posts and grades. Classes which are socially backward occupy the lowest of the social strata, primarily because of the traditional occupation accorded to the class by social rules. For example, certain Dalit castes are regarded as scavenger castes. Even with the provision for reservation, it is very difficult for the backward classes to shed the traditional occupation that is ascribed to them by society and optimize the opportunities even at the lowest levels. The struggles that the class faces do not disappear with the representation in the lower grades. The endeavor is to ensure true and effective representation of the socially backward classes across posts. Thus, for the above reasons, the holding in Chinaya that subclassification of the scheduled castes is impermissible is overruled. The scope and limits of subclassification of the scheduled castes shall be as prescribed in the judgment. The registry is directed to obtain administrative instructions from the Chief Justice for placing the matters before an appropriate. Would like to note.
मान्यवर उच्चतम न्यायालय विचारपति जस्टिस गाभाई कहते जे एससी एसटी मध्य वर्ग अच्छी जहाँ शताब्दी शताब्दी धरी अत्याचार सम्मुखीन हो एससी एसटी वर्ग रे क्रिमी स्तर चिन्हट करने राज्य एक नीति प्रस्तुत करने उचित बोली से कहते शुणु जस्टिस गाभाई तांको राय रे कौन कहते
In complete agreement with the conclusions arrived at by the Honorable CJI. However, in addition to the conclusions arrived at by the learned Chief Justice, I also arrived at some additional conclusions to which the learned Chief Justice has also agreed. Therefore, I thought necessary to give my separate opinion. In the beginning, I referred to the celebrated speech of Dr. Ambedkar on 25th of November 1949, the Constituent Assembly, wherein he has said that unless we have a social democracy, the political democracy would be of no use. And then he had warned us about the contradictions in the economic and social plane in the country. I refer to the history as to how the term scheduled caste has come in the constitution from the original depressed classes. I refer to the census report of 1891, the Indian Statutory Commission report of 1930, census report of 1931, the Government of India Act of 1935, and the Government of India Scheduled Caste Order of 1936. I also refer to the repairs in the Constituent Assembly with regard to Article 300A and 300B, which are now Article 341 and 340. I refer to and analyze the following judgments of the Supreme Court. This court, in the case of M.R. Balaji versus State of Mysore, State of Kerala versus N.M. Thomas, Akhil Bharatiya Shishit Karmachari Sangh versus Union of India, K.C. Vasant Kumar versus State of Karnataka, Indra Sani versus Union of India, M. Nagaraj versus Union of India, General Singh versus Narayan Gupta. I have considered the interplay between Article 14, 15, 16, 46, 35, 338, 341, 342, and 366. Before reading all conclusions, I would read some of the observations that I made in my judgment. I have observed that the basic error that appears to have been committed in EVA Chinaya is that it proceeds on the understanding that Article 341 has to do with the reservation of the seats. As already discussed here in above, Article 341 and 342 are only with regard to identification of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Article 341 and 342, read with clause 24 and 25 of Article 366 of the Constitution, provide that those castes included in the presidential list shall be deemed to be scheduled caste and scheduled tribes for the purpose of the Constitution. However, at the cost of repetition, I reiterate that Article 341 and 342 do not deal with reservation. The provisions of affirmative action, including reservation,
ଏହି ବେଞ୍ଚ 6ଟି ପୃଥକ ବିଚାର ପ୍ରଦାନ କରିଛି ଏବଂ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଏହି ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ ଗୁଡ଼ିକରେ ଅଧିକ ପଛୁଆ ଜାତିଙ୍କୁ କୋଟା ଯୋଗାଣ ନିଶ୍ଚିତ କରିବାକୁ ରାଜ୍ୟଗୁଡ଼ିକ ଏସସି ଏବଂ ଏସଟି ଗୁଡ଼ିକର ଉପବର୍ଗୀକରଣକୁ ଅନୁମତି ଦେଇପାରିବେ। ସଂଖ୍ୟା କିମ୍ବା ପ୍ରତୀକ ସହିତ ଅଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିପାରିବେ। ଏଠାରେ ଜଷ୍ଟିସ ତ୍ରିବେଦୀ ଭିନ୍ନ ଭିନ୍ନ ମତ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ସମ୍ବିଧାନର ଧାରା 341 ଅନୁଯାୟୀ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜନଜାତି ଏବଂ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତି ତାଲିକା ସହିତ ରାଜ୍ୟଗୁଡ଼ିକ ଉପେକ୍ଷିତ କରିପାରିବେ ନାହିଁ ବୋଲି କହିଛନ୍ତି। ଜଷ୍ଟିସ ତ୍ରିବେଦୀ ପୁଣି କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ସଂରକ୍ଷଣ ଯୋଗାଇବା ପାଇଁ ରାଜ୍ୟର କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଯଦିଓ ଭଲ ବିଶ୍ୱାସରେ କରାଯାଇଥିଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଧାରା 142 ଅନୁଯାୟୀ କ୍ଷମତା ପ୍ରୟୋଗରେ ସୁପ୍ରିମକୋର୍ଟଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୱାରା ଯଥାର୍ଥ ହୋଇପାରିବ ନାହିଁ। ସେ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ରାଜ୍ୟଗୁଡ଼ିକର ସକାରାତ୍ମକ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ସାମ୍ବିଧାନିକ ଆଭିମୁଖ୍ୟ ମଧ୍ୟରେ ରହିବା ଉଚିତ। ତେବେ ଆସନ୍ତୁ ଶୁଣିବା ନ୍ୟାୟାଧୀଶ ତ୍ରିବେଦୀଙ୍କ ରାୟ।
Unanimity and consensus in the opinions expressed by the larger benches on the constitutional matters are desirable for the sake of certainty and strength of the law laid down. I, for one, believe that the dissent for chosen reasons would be equally important for an effective adjudication in a democratic functioning of judiciary, which would have a potential to develop the law in future. So I respectfully disagree with the opinions expressed by my esteemed brothers. At the outset, I have not approved the manner in which the three-judge bench had referred the matter to the larger bench without assigning any reason. So I said that it may be noted that Andhra Pradesh Scheduled Caste Rationalization of Reservation Act 2000 has already been declared unconstitutional by the five-judge bench in E.V. Chenaya as well as in 2005. Similarly, Section 4.5 of the Punjab Scheduled Caste and Backward Classes Act 2006 has also been declared unconstitutional by the Division Bench of the High Court of Punjab and Haryana, but the judgment dated 29th March 2010, in respect of which present reference is made. Hence, both these acts, as on the date, have been declared unconstitutional. It is further required to be noted that E.V. Chinaya decided in 2005 was holding the field for about 15 years till five-judge bench in Devinder Singh, on the reference made by the three-judge bench, further referred the matter to the seven-judge bench in 2020. It is noteworthy that three-judge bench had referred the matters to the larger bench without assigning any reason, much less cogent reason, as to why it could not agree with the decision in E.V. Chinaya delivered by the Constitution bench. The law was settled by the Constitution bench and was prevalent since 15 years was sought to be doubted and unsettled by the three-judge bench by passing a very cryptic and perfunctory order not supported by any reason as quoted herein above. The importance of doctrine of binding precedent in the administration of our judicial system hardly needs to be reiterated. The doctrines of precedents and practices are the core values of our legal system. In series of cases, the constitutional benches of this court have time and again emphasized that when a decision is rendered by this court, it acquires a reliance interest and society organizes itself based on such legal order. When substantial judicial time and resources are spent on the references by the constitution benches, the same should not be further referred to the larger bench by a smaller bench in a casual and cavalier manner and without recording reasons for disagreement. In the instant case, the reference was made by the three-judge bench to the larger bench for revisitation of the earlier decision of Constitution bench in E.V. Chenaya without assigning any reason and in a very casual and cavalier manner, and that too after 15 years of its attaining finality. When a law was settled by the previous bench, in Ivijinaya, after considering the previous judgments, including Indra Swani, and after investing substantial judicial time and resources, and when the same had held the field for substantially long period of 15 years, in my opinion, the very reference by the three-judge bench to the larger bench for reconsideration of the decision in Ivijinaya, that too without assigning any reason, was inappropriate and not in consonance with the well-settled doctrines of precedent and stare decisions. Having said that, I have dealt with the constitutional interpretation. It is quite well settled that in interpreting any law, including the Constitution, the text of the provision under Constitution under consideration would be the primary source for discerning the meanings that inhere in the enactment. Sometimes, as a matter of constitutional necessity, it may be prudent to widen the search for the true meaning, purport, and ambit of the provision under consideration. However, one has to bear in mind that no provision, no word, or expression in the Constitution exists in isolation. They are necessarily related to transforming and in turn being transformed by the other provisions, words, and phrases in the Constitution. Even if a dynamic interpretation is necessary and necessary and the meaning necessary to fit in the same circumstance is found in the text itself, it would be always better to tread a path as close as possible to the text by gathering the plain ordinary meaning to see whether that meaning is validated by the constitutional values and the scheme. While giving a broad and generous construction to the constitutional provisions, the rule of plain meaning or literal interpretation, which remains the primary rule, has to be kept in mind. As transferring from the, I quoted the Constituent Assembly debates. As transferring from the Constituent Assembly debates quoted here in above, the object of inserting Article 341 was to eliminate the necessity of burdening the Constitution with long list of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. It was proposed that the President, in consultation with the Governor or ruler of the state, should have the power to issue general notification in the Gazette specifying all castes and tribes or groups thereof deemed to be scheduled caste and scheduled tribes for the purpose of the privileges which have been defined for them in the Constitution. The only limitation put was that once a notification has been issued by the President, any elimination from or any addition in the list must be made by the Parliament and not by the President. In the words of Dr. Ambedkar, I quote, "The object is to eliminate any kind of political factors having a play in the matter of disturbance in the schedule so published by the President." On the legal provision of Article 341, I have said, from the aforementioned legal position, there is no room of doubt that the presidential list, as notified under Article 341, assumes finality on the publication of the notification, and that the caste, races, or tribes, or part of or groups within caste, races, or tribes specified in the notification are for the purposes of Constitution deemed to be the scheduled caste in relation to that state or union territory as the case may be. It is only the Parliament by law which can include in or exclude from the list of scheduled castes specified in the notification notified in clause 1 any caste, race, or tribe or part thereof or group within any caste, race, or tribe. Such notification notified under clause 1 cannot be varied even by the President by issuing any subsequent notification. Scheduled castes are not a caste within the ordinary meaning of caste. It is by virtue of notification of a President under Article 341 that the scheduled castes come into being. Though the members of the scheduled castes are drawn from different castes, races, and tribes, they attain a new special status by virtue of the presidential notification. A bad reading of Article 341 brings out the quintessential concept that scheduled caste is an amalgam of castes, races, groups, tribes, communities, or part thereof, and is a homogeneous group, and that once notified by the presidential list, they acquire special status of scheduled caste, which cannot be varied except by the Parliament by law. On the state's competence to enact the law, I have said that Though the executive power of the state government is coextensive legislative power of the state legislature, none of the entries, either in list 2 or list 3 of the 7th schedule, confers any legislative power upon the state to rationalize the reservation by subclassifying or subdividing the caste enumerated in presidential list prepared under Article 341, as was sought to be done by the state of Andhra Pradesh. Nor does it confer any power to provide or reserve the quota for a particular caste or caste from amongst the scheduled castes enumerated in the presidential list prepared under Article 341 of the Constitution, as was sought to be done by the state of Punjab and Haryana. In absence of any executive or legislative powers, the states are not competent to divide, subdivide, subclassify, regroup the castes, races, or tribes from amongst the scheduled castes, nor could it give any preferential treatment by reserving a quota for a particular caste, race, tribe out of the quota reserved for the entire scheduled caste. So subclassification or subdivision of caste amongst the scheduled caste by the state for the purpose of reservation per se may not amount to inclusion or exclusion of any caste from the presidential list of scheduled caste. It would certainly amount to tinkering with or varying the notification notified under clause 1.
ସର୍ବୋଚ୍ଚ ଅଦାଲତ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତି ଏବଂ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜନଜାତିର ସଦସ୍ୟମାନେ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥିତ ଭେଦଭାବ ହେତୁ ଅନେକ ସମୟରେ ସିଡ଼ି ଚଢ଼ିବାକୁ ଅସମର୍ଥ ଅଟନ୍ତି। ଇଭି ଚିନ୍ନାୟ ମାମଲାରେ 2004ରେ ଏକ ବିଚାରପତିଙ୍କ ବେଞ୍ଚରୁ ସର୍ବୋଚ୍ଚ ଅଦାଲତ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟାଖ୍ୟାନ କରିଥିଲେ ଯେ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତି ଏବଂ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜନଜାତି ସମଲିଙ୍ଗୀ ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ ଅଟନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ରାଜ୍ୟ ଏହି ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀର ଅଧିକ ବଞ୍ଚିତ ତଥା ଅସୁରକ୍ଷିତ ଜାତି ପାଇଁ କୋଟା ବଣ୍ଟନ କରିପାରିବ ନାହିଁ। କୋଟା ଭିତରେ କୋଟା ଦେବା ପାଇଁ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଅଧିକ ଶ୍ରେଣୀଭୁକ୍ତ କରିପାରିବ ନାହିଁ। ଚିନ୍ନାୟ ବିଚାର କରିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତିର ଯେକୌଣସି ଉପବର୍ଗୀକରଣ ସମ୍ବିଧାନର ଧାରା 14 ସମାନତା ଅଧିକାରର ଉଲ୍ଲଂଘନ ହେବ। 2004 ବିଚାରରେ କୁହାଯାଇଛି ଯେ ସମ୍ବିଧାନର ଧାରା 341 ଅନୁଯାୟୀ କେବଳ ସଂସଦ ଦ୍ୱାରା ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତିମାନଙ୍କୁ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରପତି ତାଲିକାରୁ ବାଦ ଦେଇପାରିବ, କିନ୍ତୁ ରାଜ୍ୟ ବିଧାନସଭା ନୁହେଁ। 2011ରେ ହାଇକୋର୍ଟଙ୍କ ନିଷ୍ପତ୍ତିକୁ ଚ୍ୟାଲେଞ୍ଜ କରି ପଞ୍ଜାବ ସରକାର ସର୍ବୋଚ୍ଚ ଅଦାଲତଙ୍କ ନିକଟକୁ ଯାଇ କହିଥିଲେ ଯେ ରାଜ୍ୟରେ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜନଜାତି ଜନସଂଖ୍ୟା ନଥିବାରୁ ସର୍ବୋଚ୍ଚ ଅଦାଲତର 2004 ନିଷ୍ପତ୍ତି ଏହା ପ୍ରଯୁଜ୍ୟ ନୁହେଁ। ପଞ୍ଜାବ ସରକାରଙ୍କ ଆବେଦନକୁ ବିଚାରକୁ ନେଇ ଜଷ୍ଟିସ୍ ଅରୁଣ ମିଶ୍ର ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଅବସରପ୍ରାପ୍ତ ତାଙ୍କ ନେତୃତ୍ୱ ଏକ 5 ଜଣିଆ ଖଣ୍ଡପୀଠ ଚିନ୍ନାୟ ବିଚାରରୁ ଅସନ୍ତୋଷ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରିଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ଏହାକୁ ସରକାରୀ ନିଷ୍ପତ୍ତି ପାଇଁ 7 କିମ୍ବା ଅଧିକ ବିଚାରପତିଙ୍କ ଏକ ବୃହତ ବେଞ୍ଚକୁ ପଠାଇଛନ୍ତି। ସମସ୍ତ ପକ୍ଷଙ୍କ ଯୁକ୍ତି ଶୁଣିବା ପରେ ଏହି ବେଞ୍ଚ ଚଳିତ ବର୍ଷ ଫେବୃଆରୀରେ ରାୟ ସଂରକ୍ଷିତ ରଖିଛି ଏବଂ କହିଛି ଯେ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତି ମଧ୍ୟରେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଜାତି ପାଇଁ ଅତୀତର ବୃତ୍ତି, ସାମାଜିକ ସ୍ଥିତି ଏବଂ ଅନ୍ୟାନ୍ୟ ସୂଚକାଙ୍କରେ ଭିନ୍ନତା ରହିପାରେ। ତେଣୁ ସାମାଜିକ ତଥା ଅର୍ଥନୈତିକ ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ପଛୁଆ ବର୍ଗର ଜଣେ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତି କିମ୍ବା ଜାତି ଠାରୁ ଅନ୍ୟ ଜଣଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟରେ ଭିନ୍ନ ହୋଇପାରେ ବୋଲି ସର୍ବୋଚ୍ଚ ନ୍ୟାୟାଳୟ କହିଛନ୍ତି। ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜନଜାତି ଏବଂ ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତି ମଧ୍ୟରେ ଉପବର୍ଗୀକରଣ କରିବା ସପକ୍ଷରେ କେନ୍ଦ୍ର ସରକାର କୋର୍ଟରେ ଦାଖଲ କରିଥିଲେ। କେନ୍ଦ୍ର ସରକାରଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୱାରା ଅନୁଦାନ ପ୍ରାପ୍ତ ଉଚ୍ଚ ଶିକ୍ଷା ପ୍ରତିଷ୍ଠାନଗୁଡ଼ିକରେ ଉପଲବ୍ଧ ଆସନ ମଧ୍ୟରୁ 22.5% ଅନୁସୂଚିତ ଜାତି ଏବଂ ଜନଜାତି ପାଇଁ ସଂରକ୍ଷିତ ରହିଛି। ସାଧାରଣ ନିଯୁକ୍ତି କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ସମାନ ମାନଦଣ୍ଡ ପ୍ରଯୁଜ୍ୟ ବୋଲି ଉଚ୍ଚତମ ନ୍ୟାୟାଳୟ ରାୟ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି। ଉଚ୍ଚତମ ନ୍ୟାୟାଳୟର ଆଗତ ରାୟ ଉପରେ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରୀୟ ଗଣମାଧ୍ୟମ ଏବଂ ସାମାଜିକ ଗଣମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଚର୍ଚ୍ଚା ଏବେ ଜୋର ଧରିଛି। ଏ ସମ୍ପର୍କରେ ବରିଷ୍ଠ ସାମ୍ବାଦିକ ଶ୍ରୀ ରବିଶ କୁମାର ତାଙ୍କ ଚ୍ୟାନେଲ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ କ'ଣ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ।
ठीक नहीं, लेकिन क्या इसी आधार पर अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति के भीतर वर्गीकरण किया जा सकता है? सुनवाई के दौरान भारत सरकार की भी यही दलील थी। एक तरह से देखें तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का यह फैसला भारत सरकार के मनोनुकूल है। उपवर्गीकरण के मामले में कोर्ट का यह फैसला भारत सरकार की लाइन पर है, इसलिए इस बात की संभावना कानून बनाएगी। जिस तरह से SC/ST एट्रोसिटी एक्ट के मामले में सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले के खिलाफ केंद्र सरकार ने संसद में कानून बना दिया था, उपवर्गीकरण के मामले को लेकर भी खूब बहस हो रही है।
उच्चतम न्यायालय को सम्मान जणे पूर्ण विचार पाई दलित समाज स्वर उठाउछि। पुणी कुहाଯାଉଛି उच्चतम न्यायालय अनेक समय दलितों विपक्ष राय दे अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति तथा पछुआ वर्गों को आरक्षण को एक प्रकार खत्म करिवार साजिश रचिछंती बोली चर्चा होछि। मंत्री श्री चिराग पासवान अध्यक्ष लजपा रामविलास सांबादिकों प्रश्नर उत्तर रे कौन कहिसंती सुनंतु।
सबसे पहले तो ये न्यायालय की तरफ से आया हुआ ये आदेश है। मैं कोई भी बात ऐसी नहीं कहूंगा जो कि कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट हो, बट हाँ इस बात पर हम लोग की आपत्ति जरूर है और लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी रामविलास की तरफ से हम लोग सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हम लोग एक पुनः विचार याचिका भी हम लोग दाखिल करने जा रहे हैं। जिस तरीके से रिजर्वेशन विद इन रिजर्वेशन के प्रावधानों को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के द्वारा दिए जाने की संभावनाएं खोली गई हैं। पहली बात तो जब अनुसूचित जाति की बात आती है, इस बात को मैं स्पष्ट कर दूं कि अनुसूचित जाति में ऐसी जातियां हैं, ऐसी कास्ट को शेड्यूल किया गया है संविधान में जिनका आधार अनटचेबिलिटी रहा है। शेड्यूल कास्ट का आधार कतई और कभी भी शैक्षणिक व्यवस्था नहीं रही, उनका आधार कभी भी आर्थिक नहीं रहा, इसका आधार हमेशा से अनटचेबिलिटी ही रहा है। इसमें हमारे संविधान में ऐसी जातियों को शेड्यूल कास्ट के तहत शेड्यूल किया गया है जो कहीं ना कहीं कभी ना कभी छुआछूत का शिकार रही है। तो ऐसे में रिजर्वेशन विद इन रिजर्वेशन का कंसेप्ट शेड्यूल कास्ट में आ ही नहीं सकता। क्रीमी लेयर का प्रावधान शेड्यूल कास्ट में कभी आ ही नहीं सकता है क्योंकि इसका आधार ही अनटचेबिलिटी रहा है।
देशर संविधान समानता को कहीं गुरुत्व दियाजिबो से संपर्क में पूर्वतन उपमुख्यमंत्री श्री तेजस्वी यादव कौन कहिसंती सुनंतु।
शुरू के दौर से ही ये मानना है कि राष्ट्रीय जनता दल जो है सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति के आरक्षण के वर्गीकरण के पक्ष में नहीं है और ये निर्णय 1932 के पुनः पैक्ट और संविधान के मूल भावनाओं के खिलाफ हम लोग इसको मानते हैं। ये साफ बात है। आरक्षण जो दलितों को आदिवासियों को जो दिया गया था इसमें क्रीमी लेयर का क्या मामला है? इसमें आर्थिक तौर पे तो था ही नहीं। बाबा साहब अंबेडकर ने इसलिए आरक्षण दिया था जो सदियों से या अभी भी जो भेदभाव, ऊंच नीच, छुआछूत, जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन जो चल रहा था उसको पाटने के लिए ये आरक्षण है। तो इसको तो आर्थिक तौर पे ये आया कहां से मामला? तो ये पूरी तरीके से हम लोग जो है इसके पक्ष में नहीं है। वर्गीकरण को लेकर के ये आर्थिक तौर पे नहीं है। अगर आर्थिक तौर पे ही आपको न्याय दिलाना है तो आप नौकरी दीजिए सबको। क्यों नहीं देते नौकरी? नौकरी की बात क्यों नहीं करते? कितने लैंडलॉर्ड हैं, कितने कम परसेंट, कितना लैंड किसके पास है? सबके पास है। आंकड़ा सबके सामने सार्वजनिक है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दो। लेकिन आज भी ऐसा देखा गया है, हम लोग देखते हैं कि दलितों की किस तरह से पिटाई की जाती है। जब शादी में घोड़े पे बैठा, घोड़ी पे नहीं बैठने दिया जाता, पूजा पाठ नहीं करने दिया जाता। दलितों और आदिवासियों को तो छोड़ो, अखिलेश यादव जी मंदिर जाते उसको भी धोया जाता है। जीतन राम मांझी यहाँ मंदिर गए तो उसको धोया गया। तो ये जो भेदभाव, ऊंच नीच, छुआछूत, कोई जो है अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति का मालिक ना बने, उसका वो ना बने। दलित आदिवासी अपना भला स्वयं जानते हैं, अपना निर्णय वो खुद करना जानते हैं। इसलिए हम लोग पूरी तरीके से जो है केंद्र सरकार से हम चाहते हैं कि अध्यादेश ला करके जो विसंगति है उसको दूर किया जाए इस मामले में। और इसमें क्यों नहीं अध्यादेश लाया जा सकता? जब केंद्र सरकार SC/ST एक्ट को लेकर के अध्यादेश ला सकती है, तो इस मामले में अध्यादेश क्यों नहीं लाया जा रहा? तो हम लोग तो चाहेंगे कि एनडीए की जो सरकार है
देश में समानता आनिबा को हेले कोटार नित्यांत आवश्यक एक कथा को केते जन स्वीकार करुछंती मानुछंती एवं केते जन विरोध करुछंती। आरक्षण बा कोटा काहेकि दरकार से संपर्क रे निजको एक सरल मनरे पचारिबा दरकार। निज परिवार निज संपर्कीय परिवेश तांको स्थिति चलनी एभली किछि कथा को गुरुत्व देवा दरकार। जाति वर्गीकरण उपरे सांसद पप्पू यादव कौन कहते शुणु।
वो तो बहुत गलत है, मैं इसके पक्ष में नहीं हूँ। ST/SC में क्रीमी लेयर OBC को तो पहले ही बर्बाद कर दिए। अब ST/SC में क्रिमिनल की बात कर रहे हैं। 1.3% भी ST/SC के पास जमीन नहीं है, किसान नहीं है और रोजगार नहीं है। भैया इस पर तो व्यापक चर्चा की जरूरत है सदन में। सर्वदलीय बैठक को जरूरत हो तो अध्यादेश लाया जाए। और यही बात यहाँ के आरक्षण में, जब आरक्षण यहाँ 67% दिया गया तो दोनों दल के जो सरकार थे उन्होंने सही तरीके से उसको प्लेस नहीं किया, सदन में नहीं लाया, सदन के द्वारा नहीं भेजा, कैबिनेट डिसीजन में कुछ त्रुटि रह गई। तो आज जो आप दादा नाना कर रहे हैं तो उस वक्त कहां थे? और यदि इतना गंभीर है तो विपक्ष और सत्ता पक्ष मिल लीजिए, अब मिल के सदन से यहां से भेज दीजिए। हर चीज में राजनीति, पहले ही आपने त्रुटि दे दिया हाई कोर्ट जाने का। आप यदि वो क्लोजर लगा दिए होते तो हाई कोर्ट आपके इस आरक्षण को कैंसिल ही नहीं करता।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो वर्डिक्ट आया है सर SC/ST वाले,
वो तो बहुत गलत है, मैं इसके पक्ष में नहीं हूँ। ST/SC में क्रीमी लेयर OBC को तो पहले ही बर्बाद कर दिए। अब ST/SC में क्रिमिनल की बात कर रहे हैं। 1.3% भी ST/SC के पास जमीन नहीं है, किसान नहीं है और रोजगार नहीं है। भैया इस पर तो व्यापक चर्चा की जरूरत है सदन में। सर्वदलीय बैठक को जरूरत हो तो अध्यादेश लाया जाए। और यही बात यहाँ के आरक्षण में, जब आरक्षण यहाँ 67% दिया गया तो दोनों दल के जो सरकार थे उन्होंने सही तरीके से उसको प्लेस नहीं किया, सदन में नहीं लाया।
सपनर किछि लोक चाहती जे सेमाने समिति रहंतु एवं केतेक समाज आरक्षण भी विरोधी एवं किछि लोक समानता पय स्वर उठाउछंती। ए संपर्क उदाहरण पय किछि वीडियो क्लिप एठार उपस्थापन करूछु। SC/ST जाति वर्गीकरण उपरे निजर टिप्पणी देइछंती।
दलित वर्ग का मसला है, आदिवासी वर्ग का मसला है, तो यही सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट स्टे लगा देती हैं। लेकिन जब संविधान के खिलाफ जाके EWS लाया गया, चूंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट में दोज कैटेगरीज आर सोशली एंड एजुकेशनली बैकवर्ड क्लासेस, दे आर एंटाइटल्ड टू गेट बेनिफिट ऑफ रिजर्वेशन। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उसमें स्टे नहीं दिया, EWS पे स्टे नहीं लगाया और बाद में फिर उसको जायज भी ठहरा दिया। तो वो जो रिजर्वेशन गलत था उसको स्टे नहीं किया, जो कानून के खिलाफ था उसको स्टे नहीं किया। लेकिन OBC का जनसंख्या के जब आंकड़े आ गए उसके हिसाब से बढ़ा दिया, उसको स्टे कर दिया। ये मानसिकता कोर्ट की, कोई कहेगा कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट है, तो हम कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट ऐसी 1000 झेलने को तैयार हैं। कोर्ट में न्याय के लिए जाते हैं, हम अन्याय की उम्मीद नहीं करते। लेकिन अगर कोर्ट में अन्याय होगा तो हम ऐसे जजमेंट्स को भी क्रिटिकली एनालिसिस करेंगे। इस देश के शूद्रों और अछूतों के पढ़ने पर धार्मिक बंदिश थी, व्यापार करने पर धार्मिक बंदिश थी और इसके साथ साथ संपत्ति रखने पर धार्मिक बंदिश थी। तो डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर जी ने वो बंदिश तोड़ी और साथ में रिजर्वेशन दिलवा दिया, तो वो इंजीनियर बन गए और मैं भी एक वकील बन गया और फिर MLA भी बना, मंत्री भी बना, आज भी मैं MLA हूँ। लेकिन अगर ये रिजर्वेशन नहीं मिलता और पढ़ने का रास्ता ना खुलता तो ना मैं पढ़ पाता, ना वकील बन पाता, ना MLA बन पाता, ना मंत्री बन पाता, ना वो इंजीनियर बन पाते। तो ये जो रास्ता खुला था वो पढ़ने से खुला था, रिजर्वेशन से खुला था। ये रास्ता हमारे सबके होते हुए हमारे सांसद, विधायक, मंत्री, मुख्यमंत्री और राष्ट्रपति होते हुए हमारा ये आगे बढ़ने
जाति वर्गीकरण व क्रिमी लेयर कोटा भितर कोटा राय को विरोध करी दलित महासंघ चलित अगस्ट मास 21 रु 30 तारीख मध्य आंदोलन डाकरा देवार सूचना मिलुଛି। सुप्रीम कोर्ट को सम्मान दे जाति वर्गीकरण राय उपरे वकील श्री सत्य प्रकाश गौतम कौन कहते सुनतु।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज नॉट लॉ मेकिंग एजेंसी एट ऑल। सुप्रीम कोर्ट कोई कानून नहीं बना सकता, परंतु सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जितने भी कानून बनाए हैं वो आरक्षण के विरोध में बनाए हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो आरक्षण विरोधी चेहरा है वो तो कानून बन जाता है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज नॉट लॉ मेकिंग एजेंसी इन इंडिया। लॉ मेकिंग एजेंसी इज द पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया। ओनली पार्लियामेंट विल मेक लॉज। अरे तो जो जनरल कैटेगरी का कैटेगराइजेशन क्यों नहीं करते आप? जो 50% आप लेके बैठे हो उसमें आप बताइए कि ब्राह्मण को इतने % मिलेंगे, क्षत्रियों को इतने % मिलेंगे, वैश्यों को इतने % मिलेंगे, शूद्रों को इतने % मिलेंगे, अल्पसंख्यकों को इतना % मिलेंगे। क्या ये भारत इन सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सिर्फ 7 जजों का है? तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट चाहता है कि किसी भी प्रकार से यह व्यवस्था टूट जाए और जिस व्यवस्था को ये कहते हैं अंग्रेजों की फूट डालो शासन करो, उसका जो है वर्तमान में स्वरूप जो है ये जजमेंट है। ये जो डिसीजन है ये जुडिशियल नहीं है, ये डिसीजन जो है पॉलिटिकल है। अब आप ये कहें कि नहीं ये तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिया है। अरे जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिया है तो ऐसी क्या मजबूरी थी कि चुनाव से पहले आपने इसमें आर्गुमेंट जो है वो कंक्लूड कर ली थी और चुनाव के बाद में जब अनुसूचित जाति के बहुत प्रमुख पार्टियां हार गई उसके बाद आप इस डिसीजन को ले आते हैं। और दूसरी बात, अगर ये राजनीतिक नहीं है तो क्या कारण है इतने दिन तक आपने रोकने रखा? मैं आपके चैनल के माध्यम से एक बात बता देना चाहता हूं, ये जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट है ये सिर्फ आज संविधान के साथ छलावा कर रहा है। जिन लोगों को ये लगता है कि जो सीजीआई है वो भगवान है तो मैं खुल के करूंगा तेरे जुल्म की मुखाफलत, तू वक्त का तख्ता नशिया कोई खुदा नहीं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जज जो है भारत में सुप्रीम नहीं है। सुप्रीम है तो संविधान, सुप्रीम है तो पार्लियामेंट।
एथिपूर्व एट्रोसिटी संपर्क दिया जाइथिबा राय को विरोध करी देश में तुम्भी तूफान होइथिला। ताहार पुनरावृत्तिर मुंड टेकिवा घटना को एड़ाई दिया जाय न पारे बोली बुद्धिजीवी महल रे मत प्रकाश पाउछि। अगस्ट 9 विश्व आदिवासी दिवस रही। एही दिवस रे जाति वर्गीकरण उपरे देश पाई एक मेसेज रहिबो बोली कुहा जाउछि। जाति वर्गीकरण उपरे मान्यवर सांसद कौन कहिसंती सुनंतु।
उनको जातियों में बांटने की कोशिश है ताकि हम फिर जातियों में बंटकर लड़ते रहें।
बिखराव को बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर ने SC ST के रूप में इंक्लूड किया। अगर SC ST के लोगों में इतनी योग्यता पैदा होगी है तो फिर NFS कैसे हो रहा है कि पहले जातिगत जनगणना कराओ और उसके आर्थिक आंकड़े जारी करो और ये भी पता लग जाए कि क्यों कौन किसका हिस्सा खा रहा है। अगर आप आर्थिक रूप से संपन्न समाज करना चाहते हैं तो 98 प्राइवेट सेक्टर है, तो क्यों नहीं सुप्रीम कोर्ट करता कि SC ST OBC के लोगों को प्राइवेट सेक्टर में रिजर्वेशन। और जिन वकीलों ने खड़े होके सर्वोच्च न्यायालय में इसको सपोर्ट करके जो है ये डिवाइड एंड रूल पॉलिसी को बढ़ाने का काम किया, वो किन पार्टियों रिलेटेड है इस बात में भी हमारे समाज को नजर दौड़ानी चाहिए। और जितना चिंता SC ST की हमें, इतनी सरकार को नहीं हो सकती है, इतनी तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर को भी नहीं हो सकती जितनी हमें चिंता है। और जितना हम मर रहे हैं अपने लोगों के लिए और जितना हम अपने जीवन का बलिदान दे सकते हैं इनमें से कोई नहीं दे सकता है। सबके बच्चों को सरकारी स्कूल में पढ़ना चाहिए। इससे होगा क्या कितना बड़ा बदलाव होगा जब एक ही कुर्सी पे DM का बेटा बैठेगा, बराबर वाली पे किसान का बैठेगा, उससे बराबर वाले मजदूर का बैठेगा, बराबर वाले मंत्री जी का बैठेगा, बराबर वाले MP साहब का बैठेगा, तो मास्टर की हिम्मत कैसे हो जाएगी कि अच्छी पढ़ाई ना हो स्कूल में। 48 लाख करोड़ का बजट है, हमें मिलना चाहिए कम से कम 25-26 करोड़, 27 करोड़, 30 करोड़ मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन हमने कहा कि 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए।
भौणी मायावती मध्य यह को विरोध करिथिबा जणा पड़ुछि।
संबंध में अपनी पार्टी की प्रतिक्रिया जाहिर करने के लिए बुलाई गई है, जिसमें अनुसूचित जाति व जनजाति के लोगों को पुनः उप वर्गीकृत सब क्लासिफिकेशन अर्थात सब क्लासिफिकेशन किए जाने को मान्यता प्रदान की गई है, जिसको लेकर और भी बहुत सी बातें कही गई हैं। उनसे हमारी पार्टी कतई भी सहमत नहीं है।
खबरटी को शेष जाए देखिथिबारु आपनको धन्यवाद। पुणी देखा अन्य एक खबर रे सही समय पर्यंत विदाय नौछि। नमस्कार।